In the heart of Umuodu, a small but bustling Igbo community nestled between lush green hills, a quiet revolution was about to unfold. The community, though rich in culture and tradition, had a dark shadow hanging over it. This shadow came in the form of a masquerade, known as Onyeike, which terrorized the women of the village. To Onyeike, women were perceived as weak and unworthy, and this belief was deeply ingrained in the fabric of Umuodu. But change was coming, and it was coming in the form of a young, vibrant woman named Obika. Obika was not like the other women in Umuodu. From a young age, she questioned the norms that dictated women's place in society. Raised by her widowed mother, who struggled daily to provide for her family, Obika understood the hardships women faced. Yet, she was determined not to be confined by these restrictions. Onyeike, the fearsome masquerade, symbolized the oppression of women in Umuodu. Every year, during the new Yam Festival, Onyeike would appear, and the women would be forced into their homes, cowering in fear. Those who dared to venture out were chased, humiliated, and sometimes beaten. The men of the village, including the elders, seemed indifferent to this, as the masquerade's actions were seen as a tradition, a way to maintain the order. The breaking point for Obika came one evening during the festival when her younger sister, Nneka, was caught by Onyeike while fetching water from the stream. Nneka returned home bruised and terrified. The sight of her sister's suffering ignited a fire within Obika. She knew she had to act not just for Nneka, but for all the women of Umuodu. The following day, Obika went to the community elders to report the incident. She stood before them, her voice steady but firm, as she recounted the attack on her sister and the years of torment the women had endured. The elders listened but dismissed her concerns, citing tradition and the masquerade's role in their culture. "You are a woman, Obika," the oldest of the elders, Ezioka, said with a sigh. "You do not understand the ways of the ancestors. Onyeike is a symbol of strength, a reminder of the balance in our society. Women have their place, and it is not to question such matters." But Obika was undeterred. She knew that if the elders would not listen, then she would have to take matters into her own hands. She began speaking to the women of the village, gathering them in secret meetings. At first, many were hesitant, fearing retribution from both the masquerade and the men of the village. However, Obika's passion and determination were contagious. Slowly, the women began to believe in the possibility of change. She taught them to be bold, to stand together, and to speak out against injustice. Obika's voice became the voice of many, echoing through the hills of Umuodu. They formed a group called Umu Nwanyi Ike, the Strong Women, dedicated to challenging the status quo and fighting for their rights. As the next New Yam Festival approached, tension filled the air. The men were curious but dismissive of the whispers of rebellion among the women. They did not believe the women could do anything significant. But Obika and her group had a plan. On the day Onyeike was to appear, the women of Umuodu, led by Obika, gathered at the village square, their faces painted with white chalk, a symbol of courage and defiance. They carried no weapons, just the strength of unity and the power of their voices. As Onyeike emerged, the air thickened with fear. The masquerade, cloaked in its terrifying regalia, moved towards the women, expecting them to scatter. But this time they stood their ground. Obika stepped forward, her eyes locked onto Onyeike. "We are not afraid of you," she declared, her voice resonating through the crowd. "We are not weak. We are not lesser. We are the mothers, the daughters, the life-givers of this community. And today we reclaim our place." Onyeike charged at the women, but they did not budge. Instead, they began to sing, a powerful chant that spoke of unity, strength, and equality. The chant grew louder, drowning out the masquerade's intimidating sounds. The men of the village watched in awe, unable to believe what they were witnessing. Faced with the unyielding resolve of the women, Onyeike faltered. The once fearsome masquerade, a symbol of oppression, was now powerless against the collective will of Umu Nwanyi Ike. The elders, witnessing the strength and unity of the women, could no longer ignore the cries for change. The very foundation of their traditions had been shaken. They called for a meeting, this time with Obika and representatives of Umu Nwanyi Ike. In the village square, under the ancient Irako tree, Onyeike stood before the people of Umuodu. His voice, filled with newfound respect, echoed through the gathering. Today, we have witnessed the strength of our women, their courage, and their unwavering spirit. It is clear that the ways of old must be revisited. We can no longer cling to traditions that harm and oppress. From this day forward, let it be known that all men and women of Umuodu are equal. The crowd erupted in applause, the men and women of the village standing side by side, united in a newfound respect for each other. But Onyeike was not done. Obika, he called, motioning for her to step forward. Your bravery and leadership have paved the way for a new era in our community. You have proven yourself a true leader. Therefore, we, the elders, bestow upon you the title of Nwanyi Obi Ike, the woman of strong heart, and welcome you as one of the elders of Umuodu. Representing all women and the girl child, tears welled in Obika's eyes as she accepted the honor. She had not only changed the fate of the women in her community, but had also carved out a legacy of courage and equality that would inspire generations to come. Years passed, and Umuodu flourished as a community where men and women shared responsibilities and respect. The story of Obika and the defeat of Onyeike became a legend, taught to children in schools and told around firesides. Obika, as an elder, continued to advocate for the rights of women and girls, ensuring that the dark days of discrimination never returned. Obika's story spread beyond Umuodu, inspiring neighboring communities to challenge their traditions and embrace equality. She became a beacon of hope, her name synonymous with strength and change. The legacy of Obika, the young, vibrant woman who defied a masquerade and reshaped her community, lived on, proving that one voice, when joined by many, could indeed change the world. Thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed the story so far, please drop a comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell notification for more updates. Thank you.